Hey, Mon Calimari, man. I need a table for 12, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, and before you see this, I did have a actual gift card. I hope it's not too big of a deal. It did expire yesterday.
That's a trap. Welcome in to the Bro Force Squad podcast, where we're just a bunch of bros drinking beer and watching TV and movies. This is our review of The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 3, entitled The Heiress. I am your host, the Mayor Jeff Hornacek. Joining me is the American hero himself, Nate Thurman, to review this episode as we do all of our TV episodes on the 4 Bro Force Squad criteria, which is the acting, the story, our favorite scene, and then any theories or questions that we have going forward. So Nate, we got off the ice planet, we returned our eggs to the frog couple, who surprisingly appeared like their relationship is holding up quite well despite the
I think it was mending once they saw each other. I mean, it's been a while, so I don't know how Frogman has been taking care of himself, but he probably has his own special way to do that.
I was half ready for Frog Lady to catch him with like a younger frog at the port and be like, who the fuck is she? And he's like,
He's
I
he's hanging
work.
out in the red light district over there.
Like, honestly, I was looking for you. I got a little turned around here.
Is this where is this? I've never met her before in my life.
I didn't park my car here. First category is the acting and the cast. We actually got some newcomers here. Finally, in this episode, previously it had either been returning characters or frogs and spiders. So,
Yeah.
what do you think of the performances in season 2, episode 3?
Yeah, overall, I was really impressed and happy to see, like you're saying, some newcomers and some other people other than amphibians that I could actually latch on to a little bit. So, obviously, we had the introduction of 3 new Mandalorians, which is a little off-putting. They're taking off their helmets and everything, but they've got their own clan that they're in. But really like the introduction of them with Bo-Katan, and then, which I know is in the Star Wars universe, not in like the main films and everything. And then also Casca Reeves, who is played by Sasha Banks, who apparently is a WWE star.
Yeah, I had read this before the season. I'm not familiar with her, but
I know Geiger would be probably getting his rocks off right now, but
right, people were excited that she was cast. So
yeah, no, I thought she did good. And after piecing it together, she was the woman in the hood. When he first got off. First, I wrote some notes down while I was watching. I was like, okay, who is this? I hope they reveal. And then that ended up who it was. So I know she's a new addition to the Star Wars realm, from what I understand. But really excited to see where they develop. And yeah, I really like their storyline from why they're on the planet and all that. They're trying to basically take care of like these arms dealers, essentially, if you want to put it in like our terms. But everything else, yeah, was great. I like having Moff Gideon having another appearance because I love Giancarlo Esposito.
yeah, Esposito nailed it.
And even like the small role, whoever the like Imperial officer on the ship, I thought he did a really good job. His short time in there, kind of conveying like the urgency of like getting the ship up, and then his kamikaze attempt near the end, what was great.
He's like, I can't even kill myself, right?
Yeah.
It's like in Castaway when he's like, yeah, I built a noose to hang myself off a cliff, but knowing me, I had to test it.
Yeah.
So the guy who actually plays Imperial Captain is his character's title in the show.
There
He's
we
an
go.
actor named Titus Welliver. And he looked really familiar. So he's been in a lot of stuff.
I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah.
He was in The Town. He was in Argo. And then I'd never watched this show, but for 5 years he was on that show Bosch, and he was Bosch on Amazon
I
Prime.
think I might recognize him from Argo. That might be where it's from.
And he was also in Transformers Age of Extinction, or excuse me, The Last Night, I believe. Age of Extinction, yeah. So he's been in a ton of stuff. So seeing him in this, it was like kind of like a super cameo. And I think it's just a fun role anytime you tell an actor, like, you get to play an Imperial officer because they
Yeah,
like to ham it up a little bit.
and that was the cool part. Like getting back, I don't think we'd like seen like any stormtroopers or Imperial officers in a while, so it was cool seeing them on like their fleet and everything, and getting back to like the meat and potatoes of Star Wars.
And it's fun too anytime we see the Empire because technically this is after the Empire has fallen. So
Yeah,
all of these outfits, and I guess we'll find out more as the season goes on about Moff Gideon and how much control he has over them.
I was just
But they
thinking the same thing. Yeah,
yeah, because like they really don't answer to anyone at the end of the day, right? Like their
Mhm.
boss is dead, and their
Yeah.
boss.
I was kind of thinking when Moff Gideon shows up in this, I was kind of in the back of my head thinking, okay, so like he's just like controlling over this like fleet over this troop, or like how widespread is his like dominance at this point?
Yeah, and like what is their goal? Because whatever the Empire's goal was is probably different than these smaller outfits, like whatever they're trying to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Last thing I'll say about a cast. So Katie Sackhoff played Bo-Katan, and
Hmm.
she is kind of like a legend in Comic-Con and nerd circles. She was on Battlestar Galactica. She's been in the Riddick series, and she actually, looking at IMDb, she voiced Bo-Katan as well in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. So to me, that's kind of cool that you take the person who voiced the actor and then also bring them into the live action iteration of the show. Fortunately, with her, she looks the part and obviously is a recognizable face.
Yeah. Yeah, even with doing like the voice acting, I'm sure she can pull over some of like the emotions and things she's already like connected with in that series.
And she knows backstory, which is kind
Yeah.
of cool. I will say this though, I wasn't a big fan of her performance early on, but it did kind of grow on me towards the end. Like that scene where they were in the diner eating, I was like, dude, this chick is not a good actor. And then
Yeah.
by the end, after the freighter invasion, I was like, okay, you're fine.
Yeah, she kind of reined it back in, and yeah, I think she's doing a good job of playing how I think they want this role to be played, because being a little bit deceptive, obviously with Mando kind of agreeing and then her adjusting the plan, and there's some other things we may get into in theories and some other things that will play into like how they're wanting her to play the role, and I think she's doing a pretty good job of it.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, Mando, I feel bad for him. I think like 90% of the agreements that he makes, the other person ends up changing the terms of the deal.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
It's like when Chris Paul was almost traded to the Lakers and David Stern nixed it. He's like, okay, bro, like we're 90% of the way there and you keep altering the terms at the end.
Just give me a little tickle of the balls.
All right, on to story and plot. So according to the TV Time app, the plot synopsis for episode 3 of season 2 says the Mandalorian braves high seas and meets unexpected allies. And I'd really broken this down into kind of two parts. So there is obviously we get to Trask and he meets the Mandalores and has kind of that deadliest catch encounter.
Mhm.
And then they sort of inform him on the way that the Mandalorian creed had split, which I thought was really cool
Yep.
backstory. And I'll get into that in theories and questions at the end because I think it could lead to some awesome plot lines down the road. And then, of course, the freighter heist, which is kind of the whole second half of the episode, setting him up to go find Ahsoka Tano on the Forest planet. So, Nate, what do you think of the story here? I think we finally got, even if it's incremental steps, I just like when we kick the can a little bit further down the road and advance the plot.
Oh, for sure. There was really great progression on this one. And maybe I'm just saying that, comparing that to last episode where we didn't have anything really at all. Maybe there'll be some stuff down the road that we see. But yeah, this one was great because now we're actually kind of leading him along to where he needs to go next, which we have that now. And we've revisited a few things that we'll touch on. So obviously, seeing Moff Gideon again pop up and getting him back into the episode, because we left season 1 was on such a high note of him coming out of the TIE fighter or whatever he was, where he cut
Right.
himself out. So that was great seeing that. It's great seeing the plot thread of the dark saber again, because
Mhm.
that's what Bo-Katan is looking for. So seeing that is being like a driving force behind this, so they're really wanting to get to Moff Gideon because she's pretty certain he has it from her conversation with the Imperial officer. And then, yeah, adding in new characters, obviously with the ones that we already know are in the universe, and then some new ones. And then, obviously, at the end with Bo-Katan giving Mando the actual info and saying, "Hey, this is where you need to go to Corvus." um, and this is where you will meet up with Ashoka
Ahsoka.
Tano. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ahsoka Tano. So, and then that was the other big reveal that obviously everyone's excited for, and so we can get to that part.
Yeah, I was like, as the story was kind of progressing here, I started to think, as I felt like we got the, I guess, quote unquote, lingering plot fed from episode 2 tied up,
Mm-hmm.
I started to think we really didn't need that second episode. Why couldn't we have extended this episode across episode 2 and 3?
Yeah, when I first pulled this up in like 35 minutes, I was like, huh, it's like progressively got shorter over the first 3 episodes. And yeah, we could have added a little bit more to this. And yeah, cut out there's like I said, now that we've seen where episode 3 went, episode 2 seems even further off the thread from
Right.
like progressing this at all. I don't see how that fits in. It was kind of a blank story. I know they get the frog lady. That's the genesis of getting that, but I don't think we needed to have the fight with the TIE fighters and going to the ice planet for no reason and seeing these spiders. It feels lost.
Yeah, because even if you want his ship to be damaged, we could just have the X-Wings chase him into Trask or something.
Yeah, we don't need to take
Um,
half an episode on a planet that we're probably not going to go back to.
Exactly. So I almost wish we would have spent episodes 2 and 3. They could have divided this story up across 2, and it would have been awesome. He could have spent more time on the boat. They could have made
Mm-hmm.
the freighter scene could have been more like a heist, where they could have been like developing plans to get on and find what Mando doesn't know is the dark saber, but what Bo-Katan is leading him to. So I really like this episode. It was probably my favorite of the season, and I really feel like now we picked up a lot of momentum, especially with the tease of Ahsoka Tano
Mm-hmm.
coming soon. But again, it did just kind of make me feel like episode 2 was more of a non sequitur, which isn't a detriment obviously to this episode, but we were worried about that last week. I was like, the show, like we get such limited time with these characters, I don't think we need to waste them with episodes like we had last week.
No, and I can't tell if there's going to be more with the frog lady and her husband going forward. And if not, yeah, there's not much development we even need on those characters at all.
I feel like you had some solid predictions last week, like showing the tadpoles hatch and stuff. Maybe there's going to be some payoff to that in the end. I don't know what it will be,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll get at this point. I will withhold judgment on that storyline. But right now, if you asked me to connect the dots all the way through the season, I would say we probably don't even see these characters again or the ice planet again. So it's kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, Ice Planet definitely not. I could see them tying back into the frog people at some point. If maybe once these hatchlings do come about, they somehow help in aiding getting Baby Yoda somewhere or something like that. That could be really cool.
And again, Ice Planet, cool visuals, but
Oh, for
like I said
sure.
last week, I feel like some dude just drew that ice spider and he was like, "Isn't this badass?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's just do
I
it."
want to use this somewhere. Where can I use this? Well, we've got
Well,
45 minutes in this episode we need to fill.
say no more, fam. And we have $18 million we have to spend. Oh, yeah, I'll gladly do that.
In
All right, your favorite scene. There really weren't as many scenes in this episode. Again, it was 35 minutes, including the credits, and sort of 2 action set pieces. But I still feel like it's weird because I feel like we probably got the most plot of any episode this season in episode 3. So,
Oh,
what was
for
the scene
sure.
that stuck with you?
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 big ones that kind of stick out, and then some minor ones that piece it together. But most of the scenes were really great in this. Like it kept moving. There weren't any like dull moments really. But the biggest one for me was the boat scene. There was so much going on with that because you start out with having promise of Mando maybe able to progress a little bit and get with some of his own people, which inadvertently he does, but not in the way he thought. And then it's revealed that these guys just want his Beskar and want to sell it, so they're trying to basically kill him with their little whatever worm thing that they have in there. I think they named it. I don't remember what the name was.
Yeah, it was a female name, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've been on worse dates.
But yeah, it was really cool the way it started. Baby Yoda's egg getting knocked in there, but it closes up. I'm like, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
That thing's strong. It's been
I don't
through
worry
a lot.
about that kid.
Nah, he's in there. He's all good. But then yeah, it was pretty badass when the three other Mandalorians come flying in out of nowhere onto the ship, kick some ass, and then save him at the end of the day. And then there's a really cool visual at the very end when they blew the ship up, and you just see the 3 of them shoot off on their jetpacks. Overall, it's pretty good. It was a really good scene, and it gave you a lot. Like I said, you got to see new characters. They were Mandalorian, so it kind of tied that in with Din, and then visually it was really cool too with the explosion at the end.
Two things I'll say about that scene because I love that one as well. But with the exception of maybe like in Rise of Skywalker, where they're like on the boat speeders to get to the fallen Death Star, is this the first time in Star Wars we've ever been on a boat?
That's a really good point. I'm trying to think. I think yeah, in Rise of Skywalker that might be the only other time.
Yeah, the closest thing, right?
So well, that other than Obi-Wan and Anakin floating through the lava river, but that's true. About it. That's not a boat.
Yeah, but it was a really cool aesthetic. Again, like I wrote it reminded me of like the Deadliest Catch Star Wars edition.
Yeah, they're the crabbers of the universe.
Exactly. And just to confirm, the Mon Calimari in that restaurant was like part of the setup, right? He was like luring Mando to that guy on the boat. Like obviously they had no idea where any Jedi were. They just wanted to take his armor.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't think there was any doubt about that. Yeah, that was a setup from the beginning. Yeah.
Do you think they did that because he tipped them poorly when he ordered the chowder?
You know, it was a little too salty for him. You know, he likes more bland.
And he sat there for an hour and he only ordered a water. They're like, dude, fuck, man. Like, what's going on here? Listen,
these seats are valuable. You need to order some shit.
Exactly. My favorite scene was really just, it's kind of cheating because it's like the last 50 minutes of the episode, but that freighter heist at the end was really, really cool. Like, the aesthetic of them, it kind of would give you like an homage to A New Hope, where Han and Luke are kind of running through the Death Star, no idea where the fuck they're going. They're shooting guys, doors keep closing behind them. They're like just trying to get out of there somehow. It also gave me vibes kind of that Prison Break episode last season, where it's like close quarters assault, and that guy had that really cool gun that was like mounted on his back in last season.
And then with Bill Burr.
Yes, Bill Burr.
Yep, I was going to say the same thing. It reminded me of that a lot.
And that super horny alien chick.
Oh, yeah, she was super weird.
That she wanted it so bad. And then another honorable mention that I wrote, which is the very beginning when he gets to Trask, and like the people in the control tower, like, you're coming in too fast. And it's like, yeah, I fucking know. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not trying.
What do you want me? You have a better idea? Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to stop this thing?
Yeah. But yeah, to add on with your freighter scene, I think it was very similar to the boat scene because, like, it had a lot in it, a lot of cool visual effects, a lot of action. There were a few funny points in that too. Whenever he's like, "Oh, we locked him in the cargo. What did he say? Cargo access." And he's like, "Where?" He's like, "Here." And like, and then they realize what the fuck they just did.
Yeah, that's where the button is to open the door.
It was like cargo access or whatever. Be like cargo control. Yeah. Like, oh fuck.
Guys, like, we did it, and then all of a sudden they're like flying out into space. Also, then, like, you just lock them where all the weapons are.
Yeah, that's what they want.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it did some other things. It added some insight into Moff Gideon, the Darksaber, and all that kind of stuff. So it tied visual with action and plot development. So it was really great scene all together because it had a ton of different elements.
And I did kind of like the ending with Bo-Katan where, and I'll get to this in just a second with a theory, but where she basically tells Mando, like, yeah, we weren't totally honest about our intentions here, but we're not like the enemy to you. Like, we may have different goals, but we don't want like completely different things right now. So help me out. I'll help you. She did give him the information he wanted, and I actually believe what she told him. So I think Mando's like, all right, I guess that's just kind of the world that I play in.
Yeah, they'll be meeting back up later, I would imagine.
All right, on to theories and questions. I got a couple here. My first thing is a question. So the next episode, we are pretty clearly set up. He is going to meet Ahsoka Tano on, I can't remember the name of the forest planet. Corvus or something?
No, hold on. Corvus.
Corvus, that's right. Meet Ahsoka Tano, who is played by Rosario Dawson, and obviously she is a very, very important Jedi, and then really just Force-sensitive person who leaves the Jedi Order after her falling out kind of with their ideals and Anakin, obviously. So I'm wondering what you think will happen when Mando gets to Ahsoka, because as we know from the Clone Wars, which I didn't watch extensively, but I've seen probably about half of it, and I read what happens to her character. Mm-hmm. So she is not an ally to the Jedi. She's not a Sith, but she's just kind of like, you guys are really
She's
hypocritical.
Switzerland.
Great analogy. Yes,
Yeah.
she is neutral. So if he is asking to bring Baby Yoda to the Jedi, do you think she'll be like, well, I fucking hate those guys? No. Or do you think she will empathize with him or the child and help him? Like, what's her reaction going to be when he shows up?
Yeah, I know that's a really great question, because we're obviously heading straight for this interaction. So we kind of got to theorize about that and think about what the reaction of hers is going to be. And I think it's going to be a kind of sympathy towards Baby Yoda and not wanting him to maybe fall down the wrong path. So I think it's going to be an accepting meeting, and it's going to accept Baby Yoda and kind of get him into the role that she's gotten of seeing like there shouldn't be like a light and a dark side of the Force. It should just be the Force, and you should use it in a good overall way instead of taking sides like Jedi and then the Sith have.
And she obviously knows Yoda. She, was in the Jedi Order when he was the head honcho.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if she will see Baby Yoda and immediately be like, that looks like you Master Yoda.
Yeah.
Like the synonym of him. I'm sure she'll make the connection. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because he was the one who assigned her as Anakin's Padawan. So
yeah,
she'll see the connection immediately.
Yeah, and she'll be like, this baby is very important.
Yeah, we need to save it.
I have two more theories, but I'll let you jump in with anything.
Yeah, I just really have one main one. Still a few sitting out there that I think can develop. If those unfertilized eggs are still sitting in Baby Yoda's stomach, those could come back later if he didn't really digest them. We'll see. So that one's still out there. They made a point
to show that they hatch relatively soon.
Yeah. So that could be if he starts puking up little tadpoles, we'll know what's up. But the one theory I do have is that the information that Bo-Katan gave Mando is not entirely true. So I think this may be a test. And doing a little research, there's a few things that kind of support my theory. So from what I could tell, Corvus is not a planet that's ever been mentioned in the Star Wars canon before, which is entirely possible that we're just being introduced to something new. But I think this may be a test for his loyalty, seeing if he trusts her, which is kind of a weird way to go about it now that I think about it, because she's lying to him. But I think there may be a little line in what she's telling him, and she may be sending him kind of down a rabbit hole that doesn't really lead to Ahsoka Tano, which would actually be kind of disappointing at this point. But I feel like there's a little deception to her, and like I kind of mentioned earlier, I feel like that's how her character is being played. I don't know if she gave him the full truth to this, which may play out in next episode.
Yeah, maybe she mentioned it in passing too, but I am kind of wondering how she came to know Ahsoka Tano.
I know. I think we said something before that obviously they're in the Clone Wars and all these other series, and the Rebels. But I know they fought together, I think, in those two series. I haven't watched them, but yeah, it'd be cool to see what the backstory was. There's probably people out there already who know it, but I'd love to see their explanation here. Yeah.
And again, it has been some time past, obviously, between this and Clone Wars, but if you're talking about Rebels, it's much closer, and I'm not sure where their relationship leaves off there, but there could be a few year gap that we need, filled in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Two theories that I had. One is that Mando at some point, the Darksaber is now kind of being established as sort of the MacGuffin, right? The briefcase from Pulp Fiction of the show, where everyone is sort of after it. It's of large importance, and it is, as is always the case with the MacGuffin, it's a great plot device. It pushes the story forward, motivates the characters. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking that at some point this season, possibly towards the end, Mando will end up in possession of the Darksaber. And he's going to have a choice to make if he wants to keep it, give it to Bo-Katan, do something else with it.
Yeah.
And it'll put him in a position that he really hasn't been in so far, where he has a lot more leverage. Maybe he could even use it to control some of these Imperial people. I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, that's a really good point. I think it makes a lot of sense, since now there's kind of leverage going back and forth between Bo-Katan and him. And she obviously wants this, and if he gets in possession of it, he could, definitely use that for more information, for help, kind of like Timothy Olyphant's character did in the very first one, saying, "Hey, you can have my armor, but you got to help me kill this fucking crate dragon over here."
Plus, it would just be badass to watch him fighting with the Darksaber.
That would be unreal. Already like one of the top assassons in the world. Now he has a lightsaber
and a jetpack. And
it was
those
great use of the jetpack this episode too. Not to get off track of theories, but when he just jumps off the starship and it just goes and floats down and jetpack kicks in. That's pretty badass.
Jetpack. I'm glad he's using it a lot more this season because Boba Fett's always seemed a little bit janky. Like he got that like played against sports. It was like a used jetpack. And
Boba Fett's armor compared to Mando's is subpar.
Yeah, we talked. He's like in Little Giants when they have to play with like catcher's pads and stuff. My other theory that I have, and this might even be like a season 3. We know season 3 has been greenlit, but I think this would be a really cool plot bit for season 3. So Bo-Katan, again, she is sort of the unreliable narrator. Like what she's saying, we don't know if we can believe it or not in the episode, but she describes sort of a rift that developed between the Mandalorians, really just based on ideology. Like they're either different interpretation of how the, I guess, religion, for lack of a better term, should be practiced, or what actually the creed meant and the ways to observe it. I think it would be really cool in season 3, especially if they want to get kind of away from like the Jedi focus, which again, we're not that we're like heavily embedded in that, but it is sort of a plot device. If we had like a Mandalorian civil war that kind of got started in season 3. Bo-Katan on one side and then the guild that he knows on the other side, and he's kind of this Heath Ledger character in The Patriot where he's like trying to choose sides and he's sort of like the guy being tugged back and forth. I don't know. There's just, I feel like so much potential for a storyline there. I think it'd be cool to see this, something like that.
That would be a very cool season 3 thread line if we could get into that. Obviously, if like something gets resolved with the whole Baby Yoda line, then that could kind of develop. But yeah, that'd be awesome. Like it's their own civil war in between themselves.
Another thing that I do kind of want to retract is I was thinking about my theories. So we've talked extensively about how, well, Baby Yoda simply cannot make it through this series alive. And I think that I'm really going to back off of that now. I think he could easily make it out of this alive because, especially if he's with Ahsoka, her whole role is kind of isolating herself from the Jedi. And at the point that we even meet like Rey and Luke in the sequel trilogy, the Jedi are, for all intents and purposes, non-existent. It's like one dude on an island hiding from everyone else. So even if Baby Yoda existed out there, like maybe Kylo would try to track him down at some point, but Kylo's motivations are so like personal. And obviously we learned everything with Snoke was driven by someone else, but I think Baby Yoda could easily live through this series, and they could just say like another corner of the universe where other Force users existed independent of the First Order.
Yeah, I don't think that's too crazy of a theory. Obviously, that's one of the wildly speculated things right now is trying to figure out how this thread gets tied up with Baby Yoda and then him not being mentioned in any of the other movies. But especially if we go find Ahsoka Tano, then I think she may feel a need to protect him since she's seen both sides of it and she knows. And so she just wants to take him in and kind of shield him from what may happen. And that's kind of, I mean, and in a way, kind of what happened with Yoda back in the day is he went to exile because he just didn't want to have to be
like at the
taken advantage of. The forefront of this, or he knows what his powers are, so he just wants to shield the world from having to get into those situations. But I think it's entirely possible. Yeah.
Also, the more I think about it, there's just no way they will kill him off.
I mean,
it would be. You think we have riots in the streets now? Kill off Baby Yoda.
Oh my God, a pop culture phenomenon.
Yeah.
Not going to do that.
Fucking man. All right, Nate, that's all I got. Anything you had before we leave the people for season 2, episode 3?
No, that's about it. Just really excited that they kind of got it back on track after last episode. So super excited to actually hopefully disprove my theory I have, so we can get to this new planet we've never seen, this forest planet of Corvus. So we can get some more backstory. Because that will be a huge reveal, Baby Yoda meeting Ahsoka Tano.
And again, 8-episode seasons, so after next week we'll already be halfway through, which is kind of crazy how quick this is flying by.
The one good thing in 2020.
Yes, 100%. All right, for the American hero Nate Thurman, I'm the mayor Jeff Hornacek, and we are the Bro Force Squad podcast. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. We'll be here to review the rest of season 2 of The Mandalorian, so please check out all of our other reviews. You can follow us on Twitter at Bro Force Squad. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Type in Bro Force Squad as 3 words. Pretty much anywhere else too you subscribe to podcasts, and check out everything on our website at broforcesquad.com. Till next time, Nate and I need to order 2 of those chowders.
Yeah, minus the crazy octopus thing that latches onto your face.
And then he stabbed it, right?
Yeah, the very last one, he stabbed and Baby Yoda just slurping it up like Lady in the Tramp style.
That spider at the end that was in his ship.
Yeah.
Did the dude purposely plant that there to try and hurt them? It was just a weird way that they had filmed it.
Yeah, me and the wife were actually talking about that because